The problem with Bond is that for a long time, men saw this is how to be a man.
The name's Bond.
James Bond.
You drive the fast cars, you wear the tuxes, women are just disposable, you can treat them however you want to. Physically, emotionally, relationally, psychologically, if you getting your jollies is gonna hurt somebody, don't do it!
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
What the hell was that?
Oh boy.
Dude has a license to kill, not to be an asshat. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist, and I'm in for a ride.
And I'm Alan Seawright, professional filmmaker, and James Bond needs therapy.
Holy crap. Yes. Okay, so right out of the gate, remember in our very first Twilight episode where we talked about it's actually okay to be a Twilight fan? What were the conditions, though?
The conditions of being a Twilight fan and it not being toxic are you understand that the relationships are not a model for you.
Yes.
This is not how you should live your life. Is this the way that you are a James Bond fan?
Yes, like you don't approach Twilight as anything other than junk food entertainment.
Right.
If you it's like watching The Bachelor. Like if you can't stop watching The Bachelor and you're just like, oh man, like I just can't stop.
Oh, I thought you said Kylie. I'm sorry. Can you take both of us?
I can't stop.
Bachelor.
It's the people who watch The Bachelor and they're like, oh, this is so romantic and beautiful. And I'm like, yeah.
It's the people who are eating Lisa's popcorn and thinking, I'm eating vegetables. They serve two very different purposes. One is good for you while you're watching a movie. One is good for you when you want to be a healthy person.
There's corn. There's corn in there.
Side effects of corn may include choking, I guess.
So look, this may surprise some of you. I love James Bond. Which, as an advocate for healthy relationships and as someone who
This is off-brand for you.
As someone who stands against misogyny, I shouldn't love James Bond. I love the style. I love the globetrotting adventures. It's
Dude,
fine.
we went and saw Casino Royale together like 2 or 3 times in theaters.
Yeah, I remember
in college. Like we went a lot. Yeah.
And a series where someone can have multiple people training machine guns on them and just outrun the bullets. The laws of reality don't apply to this character. So if you enjoy James Bond, enjoy it as junk food entertainment. But do you remember the marketing for Bond? Men want to be him and
women want to be with him. Yeah. I mean, he's super, super, super misogynist.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War, whose boyish charms, though wasted on me, obviously appeal to that young woman I sent out to evaluate you.
Point taken.
But the problem with Bond is that for a long time, men saw this as like the ultimate, this is how to be a man.
Yeah.
You drive the fast cars, you wear the tuxes, women are just disposable, you can treat them however you want to. And all the songs like Nobody Does It Better, like romanticize, like all this stuff. As the series has evolved, there are a few times he actually gets it right.
Yeah.
There are times where he actually shows...
even in some of the classic films.
Yeah, where he's respectful or he's at least upfront about his intentions, like... And these are definitely the outliers. These are the exceptions. But if I were counseling you, Mr. Bond, I would hone in on these exceptions so that you could build on the times where you get it right. But let's talk about some James Bond dating do's and don'ts.
Oh, this is going to be good. So good.
Hold on to your butts.
Oh, you poor dear. I can't think how it could have happened.
Oh, GoldenEye, classic.
It's a miracle I came
Thunderball.
back when I did.
Oh, right, Thunderball.
But he's at the spa, and someone tried to kill him.
By shaking him on a shaky machine.
In the steam room. It'll help to relax you.
He previously kissed her, and she pushed him off.
Shrink you back to size.
Somebody's gonna wish the day had never happened.
Well, you wouldn't tell Dr. Wayne. Please. I'd lose my job.
Well, I suppose my silence could have a price.
You don't mean... Oh,
So gross.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. Okay. Okay. And then he walks out, he's like, see you later.
See you later.
Bye, and he just leaves.
Okay, points to Connery. This is the best your torso's looked in your entire career. So... Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video.
Jono, why BetterHelp?
Why BetterHelp? I'll tell you why. Because BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional counselor. And you can start communicating within 48 hours.
That's pretty quick.
That's really fast.
And once you're set up, you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor.
I love it. I
Great.
love everything about it.
This is fantastic.
Now look, folks, this is not a crisis line. It is not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online.
Securely.
There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 15,000 counselor network, 15,000 counselors that may not be available locally.
That's right.
And it's available in countries around the world. You can get help almost anywhere.
Right.
So BetterHelp is invested in you finding just the right fit, and they make it super easy for you to switch counselors until you find the right one.
So go shopping.
You're going to get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to sit in an awkward waiting room with terrible magazines and people who have body odor.
Yeah, the body odor is the big one.
Yep.
It's also more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and there is financial aid available for people who need it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very thoughtful.
Right.
Visit betterhelp.com/cinematherapy. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, not BetterHell.
Yeah, betterhell.com/cinematherapy is a very different experience. You can join over 1 million people who are taking charge of their mental health online and just live a better life.
And we've got a special offer for our Cinema Therapy viewers. You get 10% off your first month if you go to betterhelp.com/cinematherapy.
So, go use the linky, click it in our description, and you can get started with BetterHelp, and you can help better.
Okay, can you explain what we just saw in terms of why this is wrong?
Yes. Like,
this is horrifying.
it's there's nothing like it's hard to explain because it's hard to prove a negative. You know, it's like everything was bad.
She's like,
all
I could
bad.
get fired. And he's like, well, my silence has a price,
That's just gross. Like, you don't blackmail a woman into sex with you in a Turkish bath.
right? Or a man, or or anybody for that matter.
Yeah.
Look, if the answer isn't hell yes, then the answer is no. And if you need to use some form of coercion to get somebody to have sex with you or be close to you or be in a relationship with you, that's not okay. It's not sexy. It's not masculine. It's not. It's ick.
So, like, take no for an answer.
Yes.
Don't take no for an answer when is that good advice? Is it ever good advice? It sounds like it's terrible advice.
And that's the thing about the whole idea of seduction, is that there's a little bit of resistance that you overcome through your wiles, through your charm, through your... When is it healthy? When is it seduction that is, okay, that was consensual versus, no, I'm now coercing you.
Yeah, so as a complete non-expert in the field, because I am not seductive, I would think that...
You dated and you kissed girls and they...
But I didn't seduce them.
Yeah, okay.
I did. I'm like a vampire.
Vampire only laughing.
The difference between seduction and coercion, in my mind, it's basically convincing people that they want something, and coercion is convincing people to do something they don't want. And if you can seduce someone and convince them that they want you, then it turns from a no to a yes.
Yeah.
And that's fine once it becomes a yes.
Well, and the thing about convincing is it's always a choice.
Yeah.
Right? Take no for an answer. Part of seduction is the signal they're sending you is they're not saying no. They're saying it's not going to be that easy. You're
Yeah.
going to have to try harder.
Sure.
You're going to have to woo me. You're going to have to romance me. You're going to have to this or that.
And that's fun.
Yeah, and that's fun but that's not a no.
Right.
Right? But in later Bond films, we actually have him taking no for an answer. There's a time where he's trying to seduce Michelle Yeoh a little bit in Tomorrow Never Dies, and she flirts back, but then she doesn't yield.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, it's not how I saw that going. But he doesn't force himself on her.
Right.
There's a moment in Quantum of Solace where he misreads what's going on with Olga.
Kurylenko, yeah.
Yeah, and he kisses her, and then she pushes him off. But I actually really like that Craig's Bond is like, I respect that.
Yes.
I misread that situation.
Okay.
And he doesn't keep going, right? And so there are times where Bond takes no for an answer, and that's good. That's a good thing. I know someone who can't watch Bond movies, especially early Bond, because of the forced kisses. The woman resists, Because she's supposed to be virtuous is the idea, right? She's supposed to be virtuous. She's not supposed to enjoy sex, so she must push him off until she finally yields and succumbs to his incredible charms. I mean, this is such a male power fantasy that's not based in reality,
Yeah,
right?
this has never happened in human history, guys.
But what it ends up looking like is you're getting a clear no and you're ignoring it.
yeah.
And that doesn't make you the hero of the story. That makes you, like, that Bond becomes the villain.
That makes you a rapist.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, and then you have, like, Die Another Day with Halle Berry's character where there's some banter and some back and forth and some mutual seducing, and she's clearly a willing, interested party.
She's after it, yeah.
Yeah, she is. I mean, where she's definitely asserting herself sexually and making what she does and doesn't want clear. Next piece of advice I'd give you, 007, is to stop consistently going after women who are half your age, a third your age. Did you know that Roger Moore retired himself from James Bond?
He quit because they were casting girls too young for him?
Yeah, he was watching A View to a Kill, and he himself was like, this is gross. He's like...
Well, he was 50-something.
Yeah, yeah.
I gained a huge amount of respect for Roger Moore when I learned that.
Yeah, he was actually more of a gentleman than the character he played. He's
Much more. He was a wonderful guy.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like I've worked with couples in May-December romances. I've seen that be a healthy, beautiful thing.
I was curious. Can that work? Because
Yes.
it seems like usually not.
Well, and so here's the difference is, did I happen to fall in love with someone much younger than me because of this person? Versus my consistent strategy is to seek out
Who's
people
the hottest,
who are,
youngest thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I see May-December romances, I'm thinking of one right now that's really healthy and really beautiful, and literally everyone in their family thought it was gross or perverse until they spent time with the couple, and they're like, oh no, you guys
this is great.
actually are in love with each other. Here's actually something I'd love people to sound off in the comments. I totally get May-December where it's older man, younger woman, because a lot of younger guys are just we're just immature idiots.
Yeah.
And women tend to mature a lot faster than men. And so a woman in her 20s who's very mature might be very attracted to a man in his 40s because it's like, oh, we can have a conversation.
A little bit more safety, a little bit more security, which tends to be a thing that women are attracted to. Not always, of course. But
what I want to understand is actually the reverse. I want to understand the older woman with the younger man. I mean, I can see that as a great empowerment thing. I can see that as how Stella got her groove back and I feel very sexy and things like that. What I have a hard time seeing is an older, mature woman actually being in a relationship with
a young dude. Yeah. Like, I can see myself falling in love with Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that all day long.
But
I
Helen
cannot
Mirren-
see Helen Mirren falling in love with me, especially not as a 20-year-old.
So look, we're not trying to be prejudiced. We really actually just want some understanding. So if anyone wants to shed some light on this,
bring it on.
But Bond consistently is just after who's young, who's hot, to the point where they had Daniel Craig with Monica Bellucci. Everyone's like, "Hey, how progressive!
Yay!
They're within 12 years of each other."
Age. Not really, but close.
And so I would say there's numerous examples of Bond sleeping with younger women, but know your limits. And here's actually a great example of Bond knowing his limits. This girl's 18.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. So there's someone in his room. And it's a pair of legs and a towel.
So this is a pretty standard scenario where Bond would just like...
Don't they have showers at the ice rink? How did you get in here?
One of the porters is a fan.
She's a figure skater.
He'll do anything for me. And I'll do anything for you.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I'm exceedingly flattered, BB. But you're in training.
That's a laugh. Everybody knows it builds up muscle tone.
Well, how about building up a little more muscle tone by putting on your clothes?
Don't you like me?
Why, I think you're wonderful, BB, but I don't think your Uncle Harry would approve.
Him? He thinks I'm still a virgin.
You get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
So, first of all, I think Roger Moore's fantastic. He's nothing like Ian Fleming's Bond.
Nope.
but he's got a great sense of humor. And you're right. A lot of the movies he's in are utter crap.
But he's so funny and so charming in them. Just oozes charm.
I mean, first of all, I'm married, so no one should be flirting with me in the first place. But if a very young woman ever comes on to me, I would love to have the opportunity to use the line, well, put your clothes on and I'll buy you an ice cream.
I'll buy you an ice cream.
That's a 10.
That is the best shutdown line maybe ever.
First of all, how is he a spy?
Well, he's the worst spy ever.
Ever. Your wife was saying that he literally what?
He just walks into rooms and says, "Hi, I'm me. Internationally famous spy. You've heard of me? It's me, Spy Guy."
And then everywhere he goes, he's just like a complete demolition crew, like a one-man demolition crew.
Oh yeah,
like,
just destroys everything.
Don't say it.
The total cost of everything he has destroyed in, what are we up to, 25 movies, 26 movies? It's got to be in the billions at this point.
You know, sometimes I know it's part of the spy trope and real life Cold War stuff where you would seduce somebody for information and things like
sure.
that.
That's the thing.
Bond consistently leads women on and gets them to fall in love with him. And he's like, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Which may be, okay, one of the more actual spy type things Bond does compared to some of the other stuff we're talking about. But in real life, that's terrible for relationships.
Mm-hmm.
There are kind of ideas, rules, guidelines for what a casual relationship looks like.
Sure.
I mean, I think the number one rule is to be upfront about it.
Yeah. If you're not upfront about it being a casual relationship, it by definition can't be a casual relationship, because as soon as you bring a sexual component into any relationship, we are hardwired in our brains to have emotions about that.
Yes.
You can absolutely suppress that if you want. You can just have a good time physically. That's fine. But you have to know that, and the other person has to know that.
Otherwise, it's just cruel.
Yeah. It's really, really mean.
Was it something I said?
How about the words, "I'll be right back"?
And so, like, be upfront about being casual, which sometimes he is. And sometimes he's just an ass, which is a recurring theme. James, we love you, but don't be such an ass.
Well, he's often an ass about being upfront.
What sharp little eyes you've got.
Wait till you get to my teeth.
Stop it. Get some help.
He's a front ass.
What the hell is that? He's a front ass.
My name is Bond. James Bond.
And here comes the fan art. Cinema therapy.
James Bond with just an ass.
Oh my gosh.
Make it happen.
Hashtag front ass, please. Please, please. We need this in our lives.
Oh, no.
Okay, this is my biggest complaint about James Bond, actually.
Ooh, goody.
He's a sex maniac. If it's going to put the mission in danger, a
Doesn't
risk
matter.
I'm willing to take, right? If it's going to put the other person in danger, like if they have sex with you, someone's going to kill them for having sex with you. Or this person that you're trying to sleep with is going to try to kill you. All the possibilities of things that could go terribly, terribly wrong. And James like, I'd like to get to know you better. You know?
Is there going to be sex?
He literally has the same standards as the Lonely Island.
He's the Lonely Island.
Kept looking at a watch, but I cried the whole time. I think she might have been a racist. She put a bag on my head.
I just had sex.
It's like she's gonna try and kill you. Doesn't matter, had sex. You're gonna get her killed. Doesn't matter, had sex. So first of all, that Roger Moore clip we watched was a huge outlier because James almost never says no.
Oh, yeah. I think that might be the only time Roger Moore's Bond says no in like 7 films.
Or any of the Bonds, come to think of it. So first of all, know when to say no.
Yeah.
Second of all, don't put other people at risk to satisfy your own needs.
Right.
Right? You want somebody, they're in a relationship, you seduce them, it's going to wreck their home. Don't do it.
Don't worry. You're not my type.
Smart.
Single.
That's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea, or you're going to put someone in danger by not taking precautions. Physically, emotionally, relationally, psychologically, if you getting your jollies is going to hurt somebody, just don't do it. Like, it's not worth it. Or at the very least, be upfront so there's informed consent all around.
Sure, yeah.
Next rule, don't be a disrespectful ass. For example.
Dink, meet Felix Leiter.
Hello.
Felix, say hello to Dink.
Hi, Dink.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
The sound effect. The slap sound effect.
Okay, pause.
Oh, boy.
What the hell was that?
It was man talk.
Man talk, and then he smacks her on the butt on her way out.
It literally can't get worse.
I mean, it actually can.
Well, okay, it can. But, like, and does.
And does.
One little filmmaking thing that I would like to point out, this is not just James Bond, who is a disgusting misogynist. The producers were as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've noticed this in your viewings of many, many Bond films. Every single female in a Bond movie is dubbed.
What?
For the first, 15 or 20 years of
Really?
Bond movies. They're all ADR'd.
Why?
Because they would cast whatever hot thing the producer wanted to cast, couldn't act at all, and then they would go, her lines are terrible, let's replace them.
Yeah.
Or her accent's too thick, let's replace her. A million different reasons, but every single Bond girl is dubbed for the first 10 or 15 films.
And you know what's interesting to me, especially about early Bond, in order for them to be someone that Bond is interested in sexually, they have to be idiots. Or they have to be evil.
Right.
You can't have an intelligent, capable woman and have him be attracted to her.
Right.
She's either intelligent and evil, or she's good, but she's not a threat.
Yeah, later Bond films correct that. But
Later Bond films correct a lot of things.
You do know what the Queen of Cups means in an upside-down position? A deceitful, perverse woman, a liar, a cheat, and I'd like some answers now.
Please, you don't understand, sir. They'll kill me if I do.
And I'll kill you if you don't.
Oh.
But you couldn't. You wouldn't. Not after what we just done.
I certainly wouldn't have killed you before.
Yikes. And that's the thing, is he delivers his misogyny with such charm that it's you swallow it without even realizing what you're taking inside your brain.
It's so gross, and Roger Moore does such a great job with that admittedly relatively clever line. If you're going to write terrible misogyny,
at least make it clever.
witty, and he delivers it with a lot of charm, but ugh.
And that's the thing to be careful about when consuming any sort of media, is to watch it with your brain turned on, right? Because you can watch Bond from the 60s, 70s, 80s. You can track his progress as a character, or when he doesn't progress like the world around him does. But you have examples where he's not a disrespectful ass. You have examples where he's vulnerable. You see shades of that in the Brosnan era, where he's got these moments of compassion. And you see in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where Bond actually falls in love, which who could blame him?
Well, yeah, Diana Rigg. You kidding me?
And it's the first time that a woman is intelligent and not evil.
Right.
Right? It's the first time that we see that in a Bond film. Where we really start to get it is in the Daniel Craig era, where we're trying to have Bond be Bond, but actually be a person as well.
Right.
And he gets vulnerable and real, and even though he ends up getting hurt because of it, it's still a beautiful thing for the character.
I have no idea.
But you're aching to find out.
You're not going to let me in there, are you? You've got your armor back on. That's that.
I have no armor left. You stripped it from me. Whatever is left of me. Whatever is left of me. Whatever I am, I'm yours.
I love that. I love their whole relationship. I mean, I know, and spoiler, if you haven't watched it, you really should go watch Casino Royale.
Watch Casino Royale.
I mean, I know she's playing him to protect somebody else, but she
Right.
has genuine...
Well, she falls for him while doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
He's Daniel Craig.
He's Daniel Craig.
You saw that swimsuit?
Hello.
Which is a nice reversal because usually it caters to the male gaze. Like
that
all the,
is a duplicate of a shot from Dr. No.
Yeah, Dr. No, and then later Die Another Day. It's like always the woman coming out of the water.
Well, in that powder blue.
But I love because he was making a joke right before this scene where she says to him,
I just want you to know that if all there was left of you was your smile and your little finger, you'd still be more of a man than anyone I've ever met.
That's because you know what I can do with my little finger.
it's this moment of repartee, but to her, it's, I've just lost him. He closed it with a joke, we were connecting.
Yeah.
And when she calls him on it, he opens back up. And without jokes, he just tells her like something really beautiful and vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful moment in Bond history.
Sure.
You know, but very, very often he's callous, he's cold, he's detached.
Kill her. She means nothing to me.
And then, of course, I love it when she turns the tables and she does the same thing back at him.
Go ahead. Shoot him. He means nothing to me.
And Brosnan had it coming. And I love the way he plays that moment when she says the same thing, because he's like, yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah.
But do be warm and considerate, James, and gentle viewer at home. Be warm, be considerate, be willing to commit if the person's right, the timing's right, and if it's what you want.
I'm thinking about us. Tracy, an Asian shouldn't be concerned with anything but himself.
I understand. We just have to go on the way we are.
I'll have to find something else to do.
Are you sure, James?
I love you. I know I'll never find another girl like you. Will you marry me?
Audience is gassed, I'm sure. And she's not sure if he's legit.
You mean it?
I mean it.
She delivers that with such longing and without, like, she's so good in this movie.
Diana Rigg's so great. I mean, Lazenby gets flack. I think he's actually one of the better Bonds.
Yeah.
But I think a big reason that he's one of the better Bonds is he's playing against Diana Rigg so much.
Yeah.
How can you not act well against her? Like,
Yeah. And you can sell falling in love with her.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to sell it. He probably just fell in love with her.
Yeah. I mean, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's vulnerable, she's strong. He says, I don't know that I'll ever find another woman like you, which, you know, there are plenty of women like that. James Bond, he plays the field. Not everybody is fit for or wants a long-term committed romantic relationship, so I don't want to, like, heavily play into that bias. But there is something to be said for, okay, if you're playing the field because you don't want deep, meaningful, lasting connection, it's not actually a need that you have,
right?
Then, and owning that and walking that walk is fine. That's just as valid a way to live your life as any other way.
Who are you?
Bond, James Bond. Exercise Control 007 here. I'll report in an hour.
Won't you join me?
Better make that 2.
But if you're playing the field because you want to feel young and you want to feel sexy, or because you think your life doesn't allow for a healthy committed relationship, like if it's actually what you want, we see it here, we see it later with Vesper, we see it with Madeline Swan and Spectre, where Bond is actually saying, no, this is something that I want for myself. And there may come a time where playing the field isn't the way to live your life anymore. And that doesn't make you less of a man or anything like that. It's just, where am I at in life? Right. And who do I want to be? You've watched all the Bond films.
I've watched every single Bond film.
You know, early on, his womanizing is just seen as like cool and part of being a macho 60s male. Mm. But we get into something with the Roger Moore era where his womanizing is actually romanticized, which I think is even more dangerous, where it's played up as like this great, beautiful romance. Some of the songs from the Roger Moore films are beautiful love songs.
Oh, yeah, there's some great love songs.
You know? And it's played up as if it's this great romance, and then the next film...
All different girls... I mean, if the one from the previous film even survived, because half of them don't.
Yeah.
You know?
And I see that it's not just in Bond, but there's a whole slew of action films with male characters. It's framed as this romance, and then the next movie, she's gone, like Batman and Vicky Vale, and there's like one line, and now she's gone, and we just on to the next love interest. Like, we see this all the time, and I'm curious, as a filmmaker and a film buff and someone who's into film history, why do we see this, do you think?
Look, it's easy shorthand, and films rely a lot on shorthand to get your character where you want him or her.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. You only have 2 hours.
Yeah.
And writers, just like all the rest of us, are lazy.
Yeah.
If you can do an easy thing to get where you want to go, that's easier than doing a hard thing. It's
true.
hard to come up with a new idea.
This is the smartest thing he's ever said.
It's easy to come up with an idea that you've seen 9 million times.
Yeah. Well,
and that's why it happens.
To me, it's bothersome because the trope is that a healthy, committed relationship is boring. And so the only way for our hero to have a healthy, committed relationship is to have it and then have it plucked away from them.
Right.
I do agree, you've brought this up before, that if a relationship's healthy, then maybe it's not especially dramatic. This is why I think the most beautiful, like, healthy relationship movies, the drama is what's happening around the relationship.
Right.
Like that the relationship itself is stable. And I'm actually excited to see No Time to Die because Bond is in a relationship.
In a committed relationship.
From one movie. It's lasted 2 movies.
It's lasted 2 whole movies.
You know?
We'll see if Madeline Swan survives this one.
Yes, I know, right?
I'm really hoping she does. I really hope she does.
You know, and that's May December, but like it's played really respectfully and beautifully, and like there's a real connection there. So Bond evolves, we evolve. Look, everyone watching at home, you love Bond, you love Twilight, you love horror movies, like love whatever you want.
Sure.
Just watch it with your brain turned on.
Watch it with your brain turned on.
You know?
And let's all just inundate Eon Productions, who makes the Bond movies, with emails and Twitter posts and Instagram. Let's get Renee Jean Page to be the next Bond. Can we do that?
Ooh, good
Can
call.
we do that, please?
We can do that.
That guy is charming AF.
Now, if you enjoyed this episode, we got a special extended director's cut with even more jokes, even more insights, even more Bond, and even more of Alan's really, really sexy hair. You want to visit thecinematherapy.com to get more details. You can check that out right here. So until next time.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
You just blew your cover, you idiot. You are like the worst.
And
watch movies.
Nice to have met you, Mr. Bond.